crap อะไรไปไหนไปไหนนะเอารถเก่งมาแล้วดูแล้วไปไหนไม่ตายไม่มีสารทำงานเป็นเด็กดีไม่กลัวโควิดอ่ะไม่กลัวโควิดอ่ะไม่ไปทำงานดีกว่าไปเนี่ยไปนะชวนแล้วนะโอ้ไปก่อนเลยเนี่ยชวนนะอะไรเนี่ยทำงานเนี่ยนี่ไม่ได้เลยเอาเลยพี่ทำงานไม่เสร็จคันนี้ต้องทำคันนู้นนี่ไงทำงานอยู่ไงจะได้เสียงตัวแหละจะออกตลาดจ้าลงไปแล้วนะจ้าลงไปแล้วจ้าไม่ไหวครับดูแลตัวเองด้วยนะครับพี่ที่สนาม
แรกนะเริ่มต้นรู้ไหมข้างขวาจะรู้ไหมไม่ก็รู้สวัสดีครับมีที่ว่างนะมาครับเดี๋ยวดังแบบเป็นเด็กซี่
ไม่ไปพี่ทำงานโทรมาบ่อยวะอะไรไปเถอะพี่ทำงานโอเครถไฟยาวไปถ้าพัดเจนี่ผมเกเรพี่หนักกว่าพี่เอาเยอะโอเคพี่ยาวไปค่อยๆครับโอเคแค่นี้นะ
เอาดิเอาดิ
ถ้าได้ออกก่อนจะเอามาฝาก
จ้า
พี่
โอเคโอเค
แค่นี้แหละ
จ้าดูแลตัวเองดี
ไปหน้าโรงพยาบาลแล้วไปแล้วเข้าบ้านเดือไอ้ไม่ใช่ไม่จอดเวลาเดี๋ยวไปโพสแล้วก็ไปโน่นโอเคไปเย่ก่อนเลยโอเคพี่นาม
ครับครับครับ
ครับผมสวัสดีครับพี่
อืม
พรุ่งนี้เช้าเจอกัน
เออหวยถอกเลยโอ้ยจุ๊บไปกับโอเมก้าNew VR games เอ้ยเหนื่อย Set 3
Shield active. Missile.
Let's go to the original beta version. I'll point out any differences along the way. If you're looking for a braking to get the craft back under control and would have ended up losing time. It's worth remembering that unlike turning or using the air brakes, side shifting has no effect on your forward speed. If you can correct your racing line with side shifting rather than air braking, always go for the side shift. This is doubly important if you're piloting the AG Systems prototype. It should be noted that in time trial and speed lap mode, you have infinite shield energy and you can barrel roll without any restrictions.
pitching
Managing the pitch of your craft is particularly important to allow you to access different routes on some courses and also to ensure you spend as little time in the air when it's not needed. Pitching up will allow you to gain more height when you go over a peak in the track. This may allow you to perform barrel rolls you may not have been able to before, or if you're just getting used to doing them, to give you a little more time to pull them off. Here's a few examples of where this can be done on subway. The peak you see in front of you will not give enough height to perform a barrel roll. However, if you raise the nose as you approach it, you have to be very quick as you won't get a lot of time, but it's definitely worth trying. Here's a couple more examples from the same track. Raise the nose on the approach and you'll get just enough time to try a barrel roll. This is actually much easier to do on higher speed classes. Raising the nose will also give you extra height if you use a turbo over a peak. Doing this on Ultima will allow you to access different routes. However, spending a lot of time in the air will significantly slow you down. Ideally, you only want to be in the air for as long as you'll need to be. This is where pitching the nose down comes into play. This very sharp peak on downtown can throw you into the air very easily. However, if you pitch down as you go over the top, you'll still have enough room to barrel roll and you'll return to the track much more quickly. Managing your pitch becomes very important on high speed classes as it becomes much easier for your craft to be thrown into the air. Boost starting is a very familiar concept in a lot of racing games, and it's no different in Wipeout 2048. At the exact moment the countdown to start the race reaches go, hit the thrust button and you'll receive a speed boost off the line.
Full day. Full day. Scooter.
On certain tracks you may notice that there are a number of alternate routes you can take away from the main route. These are called skill cuts, and they provide a means of gaining a fraction of a second on the opposition if you can reach them. However, they all have a little bit of a sting in their tail. They may have a tricky entrance, they may be incredibly narrow, they may be open on the side so you can fall off, or they may just be generally tricky to navigate. You need to be very confident in your racing skills to use skill cuts, as if you mess up, you'll actually end up losing more time than if you'd have just taken the normal route. There's a few skill cuts that require a turbo to reach, which may require you to know how to properly manage your pitch so that you can gain enough height. Higher difficulty AI will have no problem with taking skill cuts themselves, so you'll need to be aware of where they are and how to use them if you want to compete.
Hello, exit.
The pilot assist actually did a very good job of keeping me off the walls, so it seems that this function will be very useful to beginners who struggle in heavier craft or at the higher speed classes. However, while it is much improved from the version seen in Wipeout HD Fury, I will repeat the advice I gave from my previous guide. Oh come on, you really expect me to do the same joke twice? You know my opinion already. I would strongly advise any beginners watching this video to resist the temptation to use Pilot Assist. While it does seem like a good tool for getting started, it encourages some very bad habits that can be incredibly difficult to break. Firstly, remember what I said earlier about racing line. Sometimes you want to be very close to a wall in order to tackle a track section in the most efficient way. However, the Pilot Assist can't tell if you're near to a wall intentionally, and will push you away regardless. Have a look at these three corners on Rockway Stadium at the start of the lap. On the left, I have pilot assist disabled, and on the right, it is enabled. The ideal racing line through here is to brush each apex as close as possible. But watch what the pilot assist does as I try to do this. By pushing the craft away from the apex, my racing line has been weakened and I'm now behind where I should be. It also pushed me away from 2 speed pads. While the difference is only marginal at the moment, this will build up over the course of a whole race. Even worse is that it can be somewhat unpredictable. There are cases where you may only need a small push just to nudge you away from the wall, but instead it will give you a violent jolt that can be difficult to regain control from. If the track section is narrow, this can lead to you pinballing from one wall to the other, which again is going to slow you down massively in the long run, and you might as well have just taken the wall impact. Even if you can take all of this, there's one final problem with relying on pilot assist. It actually slows you down. What you're seeing now is a lap of Unity Square with pilot assist active on the left. The lap without pilot assist is over a second faster, and it wasn't even a particularly good lap. If you're just starting out, it may be tempting to put pilot assist on to help you in the beginning, and for some, it may prove to be a good learning tool. But eventually, you're going to have to take the training wheels off, and it will take you far longer to get to grips with the game than if you just dived in at the start and learned without them. Take the time to practice in speed lap mode, and you'll be fine.
Disable weapons.
The weapon systems have always been a staple of the Wipeout series, whether to disrupt your opponents or to outright destroy them. You can pick up weapons by flying over active weapon pads. In 2048, you'll notice there are 2 different colours of weapon pad this time. Green pads will equip your craft with a defensive weapon, while yellow pads will give you an offensive weapon. This allows a somewhat more strategic approach to weapons, as while which weapon you get will still be random, you at least have a little control over which type you want. We'll look at defensive weapons first. The shield is your classic defensive weapon. Activating it will erect a shield around your craft for 3 seconds, rendering you immune to all damage and disruption from impacts. Also, if you're hit by a weapon while you're holding a shield, it will automatically activate. The turbo will give you a significant speed boost when activated, allowing you to close the gap with your opponents, gain some height to barrel roll, or to reach a skill cut. Mine's your typical way of dealing with anyone breathing down your neck. Activating it will deploy a cluster of mines directly behind your craft. Hitting one won't do a great deal, but anyone ploughing through all of them won't be pleased. Mines can only be used by speed and agility class craft. Bombs are a somewhat more violent way of getting your opponents off your back. Activating it will drop a single bomb directly behind you, and the explosion will damage everyone within a short radius. Only fighter class craft can equip bombs. The autopilot will take control of your craft out of your hands for a brief time. Perfect for helping you around tricky sections of the course, and they're also incredibly useful in skill cuts. A shield will also be activated while the autopilot lasts. The leech beam is a homing weapon that drains your target's shield energy and uses it to recharge your own. When the targeting reticle turns green, activate it to latch the beam onto your opponent. It requires you to stay within range to remain active, and a shield will also activate for as long as it is. Now we move on to offensive weapons. The missile is a homing weapon that inflicts a small amount of damage to your opponent. When the reticle turns yellow, activating it will send the missile chasing after them. It's fairly agile and can also bounce off walls. If needed, it can also be fired blind. Rockets are unguided versions of missiles. On activating, the rockets will be fired in a spread pattern directly ahead of you. They're moderately damaging, but highly disruptive. How many rockets are fired depends on the variant of the craft that you're piloting. Speed class craft can only fire 1 rocket. Agility variants can fire 2 rockets. and fighter craft can fire 3.
Nervous, guys.
Zach, we all believe in you, and we'll tell your family that you love them.
Thank you.
We'll tell your.
Oh my God!
How did that feel?
Well, you know, it felt like kind of when your stomach drops in a roller coaster.
Nice. Describe how this is all hitting you right now, man.
So, this is really kind of my first time playing this in VR. We just did one little like test match before playing here, and honestly, I'm surprised that I am not more thrown off by just the speed of the game. Like.
Nó ร็วมาก Wipe out. Ooh. What cap? Look up. Huh? Ah. The team. Oh. Beginner tutorials. We'll record. Whoa!
get it in his stride. The last moment, he's not sure. Only this. Who are the Rovers? Is that a family name? He doesn't care anyway. Look at him go! What's the start? Wow! Unbelievable! Off he goes.